Most people who dislike you will never tell you. They're too polite, too conflict averse, or, and this is the one to watch out for, too strategic. The real threat isn't the person who argues with you. It's the one who smiles, nods along, and quietly works against you while you're looking the other way. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. 7 behaviors, real science, and yes, Yoink is going to make it weird in the middle. You have been warned. Quick disclaimer before we YETI waddle into this. This is not a paranoia tutorial. This is pattern recognition. None of these behaviors, on their own, is proof of anything. People have bad days. People are awkward. People sometimes accidentally forget to invite you to things. Okay, sometimes it's not accidental. That's why we're here. What we're looking for is signals, and signals are worth reading. The compliment that somehow feels wrong. You did really well for someone with your background. You've heard a version of this. You receive the compliment, you say thank you, you walk away, and then about 4 seconds later your brain goes, wait. Psychologists call this a backhanded compliment, and it is a precision instrument. The warmth is on the surface. The sting is underneath. You felt it, but you can't quite prove it, which is exactly the point. The technical term is covert hostility. The person gets to seem generous while landing a hit you can't call out without looking oversensitive. Classic examples to recognize. You're so brave to wear that. You're actually really smart. I didn't think you'd pull that off. The compliment is the spoonful of sugar. The insult is what goes down with it. Some people call this negging. You might have seen that word floating around. Same energy, different context. Both leave you standing there going, was that a compliment? If you regularly walk away from someone feeling vaguely worse about yourself, despite them technically saying something nice, that's not a coincidence. That's information. They share your information at exactly the wrong moment. These people don't lie about you. That's the elegant part. They don't have to. They simply mention the right true thing to the wrong person at exactly the wrong time. You told them you bombed an interview? They bring it up in front of the group. Casual as anything. You mentioned something personal about your relationship? Somehow your mutual friends now know. Nobody can accuse them of making anything up. It was all technically true. This is what researchers call strategic disclosure. And the reason it's so hard to confront is built right into it. Plausible deniability. I didn't know that was a secret. I was just being honest. I thought everyone knew. They did. They knew. The aim was perfect. The tell? Look at the timing and the audience. A genuine friend who slips up feels bad. This person seems fine, unbothered, almost faintly satisfied. They agree with you too easily. This one is sneaky. This one will fool you. You're talking to someone. They agree with everything. Nodding, totally. You're so right. I was thinking the same thing. Feels great, right? Wrong. Or at least maybe wrong. The person who never disagrees with you directly hasn't moved their disagreement. They've relocated it somewhere you can't see it. The disagreement still exists. It just found a different exit.
Psychologists describe this as sycophantic agreement, operating as a form of passive aggression. The surface is smooth. The resistance has gone underground. Here's how you tell the difference between genuine agreement and the fake kind. Watch what they do versus what they say. The real agreeers back you up when it costs them something, when you're not in the room, when it's inconvenient, when the group is going the other way. The fake agreeers? Remarkably flexible the moment you leave.
They exclude you just enough. Not blocked, not uninvited to everything. That would be obvious. Just excluded from the specific things that matter. The meeting you found out about afterward. The group chat with everyone except you. The lunch that apparently happened. The decision that got made while you were conveniently not consulted. Researchers who study social exclusion, including some famously grim experiments where people were literally left out of a digital ball-tossing game and still reported feeling terrible, found that exclusion doesn't need to be dramatic to be effective. The brain processes being left out the same way it processes physical pain. Same neural pathways, same reaction. The person doing this knows that. Maybe not consciously, but they know that the quietest exclusions land the hardest. What makes it devastating is the deniability. Oh, I thought you knew about that. Sorry, the group chat's just for reason that barely makes sense. We didn't think you'd be interested. Measured, deniable, effective. And it adds up.
They celebrate your failures more than your wins. Not visibly, not with a party and balloons. That would be rude and also amazing. But something shifts when things go wrong for you. They become just slightly more animated, just slightly more engaged. The concern is there, but there's something underneath the concern that doesn't quite match it. Something that relaxes when you stumble. Compare that to your good news, which gets a polite response. Correct number of words, the right face, but no real energy behind it. Psychologists have a word for that quiet satisfaction at someone else's misfortune: Schadenfreude. Look it up. It's a good one to know. And the research behind it is fascinating. We experience Schadenfreude most intensely toward people we envy, people we feel in competition with, or people we resent for reasons we won't admit out loud. So when someone's more alive in response to your setback than your success, that's not accidental. That's a feeling they're trying and slightly failing to hide. They go quiet when you actually need them. Not openly unsupportive. Nothing you could point to. Just unavailable. Specifically and consistently when you need something. Busy every time it matters. The text that gets left on read. The reply that comes 2 days late, after the situation has already resolved itself without them. The let me know if you need anything that evaporates the moment you actually need something. This is called passive social support withdrawal in the research. And what makes it particularly hard to name is that it's all inaction. There's nothing to confront. They didn't do anything. They just weren't there. And fake friends are experts at this. The pattern you're looking for is the unavailability selective. Do they show up for the fun stuff, but disappear for the hard stuff? Are they always free until the moment it requires something from them? One-sided friendships, where you're consistently the one who reaches out, the one who shows up, the one who tries, are one of the most draining feelings there is. The research says inconsistent support is actually more stressful than no support at all. At least with no support, you stop expecting it. They frame everything you do as luck. You were just in the right place at the right time. Anyone could have done that with those connections. Honestly, you got lucky. This one is the most sophisticated move on the list, and the most insulting, because it removes you from your own achievements, systematically, politely, while technically saying something that sounds almost like a compliment. Attribution theory in psychology tracks how we explain other people's successes. When someone secretly dislikes you, or envies you, or feels threatened by you, there's a pattern. Your wins get attributed to external factors: luck, timing, connections, circumstance, never to your skill, never to your work, never to you. It's not just dismissive, it's an erasure. A small one, every time, until your own narrative about yourself starts to absorb it. Signs someone doesn't respect you often show up here, not in open criticism, but in this quiet reassignment of your success to forces outside your control. If someone consistently undermines your achievements without ever saying anything technically wrong, this is it. This is the mechanism. So, what do you do with all of this? First, breathe. You're not suddenly surrounded by enemies. Most people are just distracted, awkward, or dealing with their own stuff. One signal is nothing. A pattern is information. Second, this is not a confrontation guide. You don't walk up to someone and say, "I've identified your backhanded compliment as covert hostility. Please advise." That's unhinged, and also would make a great video for a different day. What you actually do is calibrate. You adjust how much access you give. You stop being surprised. You stop over-investing in people who've shown you, clearly and for free, that they're not invested back. Here's the reframe that actually helps. The person who secretly dislikes you is doing you a favor. They're showing you exactly who they are. You didn't have to ask. You didn't have to find out the hard way. They showed you in their compliments, their timing, their silences, their barely concealed satisfaction. Everything you needed to know. The quietest enemies are the most useful teachers. Protect your energy. Widen the circle for people who earn it. Tighten it everywhere else. The most dangerous people in your life will never announce themselves. They'll smile at the right moments, say the right words, and make themselves very difficult to argue with. But the signals are there. They've always been there. Now you know what to look for. Yoink out.